It is a Saturday afternoon. You are standing in the auto parts aisle under fluorescent lights, and you have got a bottle in your hand. Maybe it is a tablet in a blister pack. Maybe it is a dark little jar with a racing stripe on the label. Either way, it says it will cut your engine friction, restore compression, and give you back 30 to 40% of your gas mileage. The price tag says $8. You look at it and you think about what you just spent at the pump. $60, $70, $80 to fill the tank this week, and $8 to get 40% of that back sounds like the cheapest bet you have ever made. So you buy it, you pour it in, you drive to work Monday morning and you watch the needle and you want it to work. Maybe you even convince yourself it did. Then a month later, the tank is empty at the same mileage it always was, and you are back in the same aisle looking at the next bottle, the next tablet, the next promise. $10 this time, $12 that time, and the fuel bill has not moved a penny. There is a $0 rule the old mechanics lived by that actually protects your mileage and your engine. And the only reason nobody taught it to you is that there is no profit in a man who reads his own owner's manual. No bottle to sell him, no tablet to reorder, no subscription, just a discipline that costs nothing and works every time. Because the people who built the engine already did the engineering for you. By the end of this, you will know exactly what that rule is, why it works, what every miracle additive actually delivers according to the people who tested them, and what to stop buying for good. I want to be straight with you before I go any further. That bottle you are holding, or one like it, promises to cut friction, restore lost compression, plate every moving part with a miracle film, and hand you back 30 or 40% of your gas mileage. Some of them cost $8, some cost $12. Some come as a tablet, some as a powder, some as a little bottle of dark liquid with a racing flag on the label. And I will tell you plainly, if $1's worth of anything you could pour into a crankcase could honestly give every engine on the road a 40% mileage gain, every car maker on earth would have built the entire maintenance schedule around it. They did not. The fix is not a bottle. The fix is a rule, and it costs you nothing. By the end of this, you will know exactly what protects your engine and your mileage, what does not, what to stop buying, and what the people who built your engine actually tell you to do. You will not need to spend a dime. My name is Hal Perkins. I am 74 years old. I have been a mechanic and a handyman my whole working life, raised in rural Missouri by parents who came through the Depression owing nobody. My father ran the same truck for decades, and his rule was plain. Read the book, use the oil it calls for, change it on time, and never believe a man who says one bottle fixes everything. He never carried debt. He never wasted a scrap. And my mother, who stretched every dollar until it hollered, taught me that the cheapest thing you can do with anything you own is take care of it the way it was designed to be taken care of. I share these things because somebody has to hand them on or they are gone. Before I show you what to do, you need to understand why it works, because the plain reason tells you what to expect and what not to expect. Your engine loses some of its fuel energy to friction. That is real. Metal parts move against each other thousands of times a minute, and anything that reduces that drag means a little more of the fuel's energy goes to moving the vehicle instead of heating up the oil. That is why engine oil exists. But here's the thing most people never think about. The oil that comes in a modern bottle is not just oil, it is a balanced system. There is a base oil, yes, but mixed into it is a package of chemistry that took engineers years to develop, viscosity modifiers that keep the oil flowing right whether it is January or July, detergents that clean deposits off internal surfaces, dispersants that hold contaminants in suspension so the filter can catch them, anti-wear additives that protect the places where metal actually touches metal, and friction modifiers that are already doing the job that miracle bottle claims to do. All of those ingredients are balanced against each other. The car maker tested that specific combination in that specific engine and said, "This is the oil that protects it and gives you the efficiency we designed in." Now, when you pour an aftermarket additive into that oil, you are not adding to a system. You are upsetting one. You are changing the chemistry the engineers balanced. Ford says it plainly in their own service literature. Do not use supplemental engine oil additives because they are unnecessary and could lead to damage. Honda says oil additives are not required and may adversely affect performance and durability. Cummins, which builds diesel engines that run hundreds of thousands of miles, says its engines are designed to run on commercially available oils without supplemental additives. These are not small companies guessing. These are the people who built the engine. And their answer across the board is the same. The oil we specified is the oil you need. Put it in. Leave it alone. And the mileage numbers? Let me be honest, because honest numbers are the only kind worth writing on the pad. The Environmental Protection Agency once ran a confirmatory test on a lubricant additive called petromoly, a real product, real testing. The result was a gain of about 2% in city driving and about 3% on the highway. 2 and 3. Not 30, not 40. 2 and 3. And that same test measured a 5% increase in nitrogen oxide emissions, which is a real penalty. The best peer-reviewed lubricant research I have seen from engineering groups and oil industry technical bodies frames the legitimate fuel economy benefit of a properly formulated low-viscosity oil at somewhere in the low single digits. One large study found moving from a 5W40 oil to a 5W20 saved about 2.9%, and going all the way to a 0W16 with a friction modifier got 6.1%. Those are real gains, honestly measured, and they come from the right oil in the right engine, not from a mystery powder dumped on top of a balanced formula. If this is the kind of plain, honest teaching that helps you keep money in your pocket, hit subscribe. I put one of these out regularly, and every one of them is built the same way. Real method, real cost, real math, no hype. Now let me show you exactly what to do. Here is the fix, and I want you to write this down, because it costs you nothing, and it is the single most important thing you can do for your engine and your fuel economy. Step 1. Open your glove box and pull out the owner's manual. If you do not have one, look up your year, make, and model online. Every manufacturer publishes it. Find the page that lists the engine oil specification. It will say something like 5W30, meeting a certain API service category, or a manufacturer-specific approval number. That is your oil. Not what the parts store clerk recommends. Not what is on sale, not what worked in your brother-in-law's truck. The oil that was tested and approved for the engine sitting under your hood. Write that specification on your pad. Step 2. The next time you buy oil or take the vehicle in for a change, confirm the oil going in matches that specification exactly. Look at the bottle. It should carry the API certification mark, a starburst symbol that means the oil has been independently tested and licensed to meet the standard your engine requires. A 5-quart jug of quality oil that meets spec runs roughly $25 to $35 at any parts store, depending on conventional or synthetic. That is the same money you were already going to spend. The cost of doing this right is $0 extra. Step 3. Do not add graphite, PTFE, molybdenum tablets, or any other aftermarket solid or liquid additive unless your owner's manual explicitly says to. Graphite is a solid lubricant used mainly in greases and in industrial applications where liquid oil cannot go. The Society of Tribologists and Lubrication Engineers describes it as a non-soluble additive used in grease and only rarely in lubricating oils. It has real uses, but blanket advice to pour it into any engine's crankcase is not one of them. The same goes for PTFE suspensions and the tablets that promise to plate your cylinder walls. If your manual does not call for it, do not add it. Step 4. Keep the oil at the correct level. Check it the way your father checked it. Pull the dipstick, wipe it, reinsert it, read it. Too little oil starves protection. Too much oil can cause foaming, increased crankcase pressure, and damage to seals. Ford warns against overfilling specifically. This costs you nothing but 60 seconds and a rag. Step 5. Change the oil and filter on schedule. Not early to be safe. Not late to save money. On schedule, the way the manual says. The filter catches the contaminants the dispersants hold in suspension. A spent filter and degraded oil are doing less of their job every mile past the interval. A standard oil change, whether you do it yourself for the cost of oil and a filter, call it $30 to $40, or pay a shop $40 to $70, is the single cheapest piece of insurance your engine has. The cost of skipping it is an engine. Now let me say something plain about the wrong approach, because there is a lot of bad advice on this one. You will find people online who swear that powdered graphite gave them back horsepower, that their engine runs quieter, that their mileage jumped overnight. I do not doubt they believe it, but belief after one tank of gas is not measurement. Real measurement is what the EPA did with petromoly: controlled conditions, calibrated equipment, statistically analyzed, and the answer was 2 and 3%, not 30 and 40. The human mind is very good at finding improvement when it spent money looking for it. Write down your actual mileage over 10 tanks, same route, same driving, same season. That is how you know. There is also the claim that graphite was banned in 1973, quietly removed by oil companies who did not want you to have cheap performance. I looked for that ban in the Federal Register. I did not find it. What I did find were petroleum graphite lubricant patents filed before and after that year, openly, which is a strange thing if the substance had been secretly removed from the market. The Federal Trade Commission, meanwhile, has been warning consumers about implausible gas-saving claims for aftermarket devices and additives since before most of us had email. This is not a hidden history. It is a marketing story dressed up as one. My father never believed in miracle bottles. If the manual said 10W30, he used 10W30. If someone offered him a powder that would fix wear, restore compression, cut his fuel bill, and probably shine his shoes while it was at it, he would say, "There is a salesman hiding in that sentence." That was not stubbornness. That was a man who could not afford an engine failure and who understood that the cheapest insurance is the right maintenance done on time. The generation that came through the Depression did not have graphite secrets. They had discipline. They read the book. They followed the schedule. They did not waste money on promises, and they made things last because they could not afford to replace them. You are not learning a new trick. You are recovering an old discipline, the one that kept the truck running 30 years and kept the family out of debt. The habit that keeps this saving compounding is plain. Every oil change, confirm the specification matches. Every month, check the level. Every season, glance at the maintenance schedule and see what is coming. And every time you stand in that parts store aisle and a bottle promises you the world for $8, walk past it. That $8 stays in your pocket. Over a year of skipping 2 or 3 of those bottles, that is $16 to $36 you kept. Over 5 years, that is $80 to $180, not because you found a miracle, but because you stopped paying for one. Be honest about what this does. The strength of evidence for using the correct manufacturer-specified oil and skipping unsupported additives is strong. Every major engine maker says it. The engineering literature supports it. The discipline protects your engine, preserves your warranty, and gives you the fuel economy the vehicle was designed to deliver. The strength of evidence for any single additive delivering a 30 or 40% mileage jump in a normal road car is unsupported. I did not find it in the engineering literature. I did not find it in the EPA's testing. I did not find it in the manufacturer guidance. If someone shows you a controlled, peer-reviewed study that proves otherwise, I will read it and I will say so. Until then, the honest answer is low single digits from the right oil and 0 from a mystery bottle. Where this does not help, if your engine has severe oil consumption, knocking, metal particles in the oil, or low oil pressure, that is not a bottle problem. That is a mechanic problem. Take it to someone who does it for a living, because no additive fixes worn bearings or scored cylinders. That is the honest scope. One safety note, because I would not leave it out. Do not experiment with oil viscosity outside what the manual specifies. Going thinner than the engine was designed for can starve critical bearing surfaces under load. Going thicker wastes fuel pumping oil and can impair cold start protection. And never, under any circumstances, pour a substance into your engine that you cannot verify is compatible with the seals, the catalytic converter, and the emission system. A $5 experiment that damages a catalytic converter is a $1,200 lesson. Follow the manual. That is the safeguard. Now I want to take a moment, because here is where it all comes together. Look at what we have walked through. One rule: use the exact oil your engine was designed for, at the correct level, changed on schedule. Do not upset the formula with aftermarket additives the manufacturer did not ask for. The evidence is strong. The cost is $0 above what you were already spending on oil changes. The mileage benefit is the full efficiency your engine was engineered to deliver. Not a miracle number, but the real number, protected. The honest math is plain. Put it on the pad. The correct oil for your engine. $25 to $35 for 5 quarts, which is the same oil change cost you already pay. The aftermarket additive you are not buying, $8 to $15 a bottle, 2 or 3 times a year, that is $16 to $45 a year you kept by doing nothing extra. Over 5 years, $80 to $225, and that is just the additive. If one of those bottles damaged a seal, fouled a catalytic converter, or voided a warranty claim, the number is not $45. It is hundreds or thousands. The bigger value is what you did not risk. The oil that was already right is still right, the engine that was already protected is still protected, and the mileage that was already honest is still honest. $0 spent, 0 damage invited. There is no money in teaching a man to read his own owner's manual. There is a great deal of money in selling him a new bottle every oil change. $8 here, $12 there, a tablet that promises what no tablet can deliver forever. So the plain old rule sits quiet in the manuals nobody opens, and most drivers pay for what nothing would have done. You can be the one who never paid. This is not a conspiracy. It is plainer than that. When something works without you buying it, nobody has a financial reason to teach it to you. 2 generations of drivers got a little more comfortable, stopped reading the maintenance book, and the patience quietly faded, until someone looked at the miracle bottle and remembered that the manual exists. This was never really about graphite or any additive. It is about whether you run your vehicle by the manual and a legal pad or by promises printed on a label. The careful old folks did not have miracle powders. They had the discipline to follow the book, check the level, change the oil on time, and ignore every salesman who said he had something better than the engineers. They made things last. They owed nobody, and the truck still ran. Here is what I want you to do tonight. Open the glove box, find the owner's manual, and write down the exact oil specification for your engine. Put it on the pad or tape it inside the glove box door. This week, check that the oil in the engine right now matches that specification. Pull the receipt from the last oil change or call the shop and ask. This month, check the oil level and confirm your change interval is on schedule. This season, look at every bottle and tablet in your garage that promises a miracle. Add up what you have spent on them. Write that number next to zero, which is what the manual costs. And the next time you stand in that aisle, walk past. Now, I want to hear from you. What is the worst miracle automotive product you ever bought? The one that promised the most and delivered the least? And if your father or your grandfather had a rule he lived by in the shop, something he trusted more than any salesman or any bottle, I want to hear that too. These little inherited methods get lost when nobody writes them down, and I read every single one. Next time, same principle, different expense. The cheap maintenance habits that actually protect your mileage. Tire pressure, drag, and the 10-minute seasonal checkup that costs nothing and saves real money. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Until then, read the manual, use the oil it calls for, check the level, change it on time, and keep your money in your pocket where it belongs. That is how the careful old folks got by without owing anybody a dime. That is how it is still done in any home that remembers.